Kom ons kyk gou, jy het hier so 'n voorbeeld op die slides van die vinke. Ons keer mos maar altyd terug na Darwin se Galapagos vinke
Ja,
toe.
nee. As ons gaan kyk na hierdie voorbeelde van variasie nie, ons moet variasie nou gebruik as 'n verduideliking. Jy is veronderstel om variasie te gebruik om evolusie te verduidelik. So, jy moet gaan kyk, wat is dit wat in die genotipe verander? Dis die genetiese variasie wat natuurlik die fenotipe verander. And I think the finches of Galapagos is quite a good example. Remember, those finches, they have landed somehow on those islands from the mainland of South America, either by strong winds or many, maybe the continental drift, whatever.
Ja, or a piece of driftwood. And remember,
Yes.
it was just, well, we think one ancestral
One
species, of
ancestor,
course more
yeah.
than one individual, but one ancestral species.
So when they landed there, on all these islands, they have found that all the finches, they are different, which means that the genotype have changed, and it has changed the phenotype on all these because they all have adapted, the bulls have adapted to the types of food. And there we have the white lion as another
they
example,
beautiful?
which is also part of your exam guideline. And they look very beautiful. But also, biologists, they said that the white lion will not, as a species, they can't survive. Since if you know where you find the white lion, normally in grasslands in the savannah, and they should blend in with the environment, and if you look how they stand out, which means that the prey see them easily, so how are they going to catch food? On the other hand, even hunters see them, and who would not want that nice fur to be hung up in your, which is not a moral thing to do.
Yeah, we don't condone
we
that,
don't condone that
but
at
some
all.
people do
but
that.
that is why they do that. And if you look at this, so the white lion will not exist much longer as a species.
But this is because of a mutation,
Yes.
and learners should remember that they are not albinos. It was simply a mutation where there's no fur color, or the color is white. But if you look at the rest, the mouth, the nose, the eyes, these animals are not albinos.
Yeah. And there we have it as natural selection, example 1. We just went through that. And I think we are giving you all these different types of examples because this is what you will get mostly in the exam. So, Lorraine.
Kom ons kyk 'n bietjie na die muise. Nee, ag, arme muise, hulle is so pragtig. Maar wat gebeur daar? It will show you that over 3 months, this mouse population is living in an environment with light-colored sand. Now, why they went there in the first place, we don't know, but we've got these mice with, there are 2 colors, in other words, variation within the population. Now, I can imagine that the light-colored mice was sort of blended in with the environment, and the darker-colored ones was almost an invitation for the eagle or the falcon to come and catch them. And true as goodness, that is what you can see, what happened over the months. The white ones survived and the black ones were caught out. So it's an example of natural selection. In the end, only white mice will survive. It's almost the same as, remember last week, we talked about the grey moths. Here's another example, and this was in a paper, I think 2 years ago.
Yes.
Ja. Wat het ons hier, Carlin?
Here we have, if you were asked, the learners were asked to compare pictures A and B to describe the feature of the cacti that have enabled them to survive the long periods of hot, dry weather conditions. Now, normally you do find cacti in arid areas, very dry and hot areas. And the question was, name the mechanism put forward by Darwin to explain his theory of evolution that is illustrated. So you have to apply Darwin's explanation or his theory of natural selection. So how would you go about do this? Why would they give you the roots? You see how deep down the roots go, always looking for water. You don't see any leaves, but cacti normally they have the thorns there to reduce transpiration. So over time, what do you see? Here you see the adaptation. They could not adapt, and that is why they are less on this side. They have adapted because they are always constantly looking for the water.
Which means that if you look at this picture, what Colin has said now is that those were the roots that could go deeper looking for water, trying to find water, were the ones that survived the drought. And the three in the middle died out simply because they couldn't reach water. Because genetically and therefore also in the phenotype, they had short root systems.
And if you look here, as soon as the rain comes, they take advantage of this opportunity, they bloom, and they produce offspring. You see, so it's natural selection. It's about whenever the rain comes, then they reproduce. So it's about adaptation and survival.
And there you can see the offspring. Sorry, can we
Sorry,
just
yes,
go
we
back?
can go back.
The offspring also have longer roots. If you look at the pictures, there the offspring have longer roots than those who died out. So the offspring will have the same length of root. Sorry, Colin, but I'm very unhandy with my left hand. The offspring will have longer root systems, just like mommy and daddy, not like these that died. So it's natural selection. So if these reach maturity, their offspring will also have longer roots. And in the end, that is what happens with evolution. We'll only find cacti with long, deep root systems. Okay? Right. Another example.
I think next week we will concentrate more on this, but it's
Yeah, 'cause
also
it's part of the
it's
proof
part
of
of the
evolution,
yes.
yeah.
Then we have the tortoises as an explanation. You have it in your handout. Look at that, because there's the answer to the question for you. So we have inserted that as all because natural selection was done last week. So we're just running
ook
through that.
verduidelik, wat net gou 'n bietjie. Ons het vir hulle verduidelik van die eend se pote. So hulle moet net onthou en weer gaan terugkyk. En as hulle gaan kyk na die volgende skyfie, onthou julle die grys en wit motte, die pepperbark moths of Manchester,
Ja.
and in Wales we also explained that.
Ja.